and it's still being, dude. I woke up. I looked at my phone. There were 60 notifications. All of which tagged me, many of which weren't even directly addressing me.
Awesome.
So you're having a slow night, is that what you're saying?
Oh, no, it doesn't. I mean, I'm going to start muting people on general principle.
That's not how that works, bro. What you're supposed to do is not get on YouTube and Twitter.
Right?
That's how you do
that. That's the one.
Oh, all my friends are dicks. Anyway.
Yeah.
Wait, then why
I'm
did you
glad to be here with you.
Indeed. Yes, Beak. Yes, it did. So, anyhow, like I said, welcome into the show. For those of you on Sasquatch's channel, which we are now also concurrently streaming to, who missed the intro, we are live on Twix, YouTube, and Rumble, and at 3 separate YouTube channels at that. Shadow of Hawk, Caucasian Sasquatch, and my own. Yeah, let us know you're here. Shout out. I'm gonna go ahead and say hello to the chat before we get into anything. First up, we had Beak. Good to see you. And I did, by the way, I did see you post this at like 4:02 a.m. or what, it says 4:02 p.m. But I know that I saw that thing there. It was after Beelzebub. It was like 3:30 in the morning here when I saw it. So yeah, I know you were first. Anybody argues with that? I saw it. We've got Abe. Hey, Clifton, good to see you, my man. Lord help us, Tampa. Welcome in. It's a very specific name.
And honest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, honest. Brandon Mitchell, welcome in. We've got Abe and Caucasian Sasquatch both in chat as well. Welcome in, guys. So,
hey, Eric, how you doing, man? Thanks for showing up.
Oh, we got somebody over on.
Nope, still on yours.
Oh, okay.
I shouted out yours.
Reiner.
He's Polish. Reiner is what I say. I say Rainer. He's never corrected me.
Okay. Well, yeah. I understand. I understand that it's a Slavic name with the J. I get that. I just sometimes with the vowels get a little funky. So, but what?
I got a question for the panel before we get too deep in the weeds on anything.
42.
Is it
Hobo Ralph? Welcome in.
Is it safe?
Yes.
When making Mexican jokes to just repurpose Polak jokes?
I thought you did that with blonde jokes.
Hold on.
I'm going to go with yes because we've got virtually no Mexicans in the UK.
Okay. Well, we've got a few Polish over here, and every Polish guy I've ever met's been based as hell, by the way. Like,
oh yeah, we got lots of Polish.
Based.
Yeah,
Rainer. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I've always thought that blonde jokes and Polak jokes were interchangeable. I'm sorry, Polish jokes.
I don't know, man. If I don't think you can drown a Polish guy by putting a scratch and sniff sticker at the bottom of a pool.
No, I've used that very joke in junior high. Yes, you can.
Okay. Right. Surely the Polish guy would let down the tailgate before he drowned. Right?
Well, hold on. Eric's defending his country. He says they aren't that lazy.
Right?
He's way better than my joke, dude. Let's sign him up.
Right?
That's so funny as well, because in the UK, Poles have got like this stereotype of being super hardworking people.
Yeah, here too. And the one Pole that I work with, he would show up. Dude, and I'm one of those guys who shows up early to everything, right?
Yeah.
Because I can't sleep. So I show up early to everything, and I would get there, and he'd already be there doing shit. Like, not just standing around drinking coffee, but over there, like, doing stuff. Like, hard stuff.
Yeah, well, I mean that's typically true of Mexicans too. We tell a lot of jokes.
I was going to say,
or we used to say a lot of
Mexicans,
things.
yeah.
Yeah, we used to say a lot of things that were pretty negative about Mexicans in a humorous capacity. You might call it a little bit racist. I don't know, but either way, it typically isn't true
same
of
thing.
them. You
The
know,
Mexicans are white. So what are you talking about?
right? Well, you know what? Actually, that brings up a point. So a couple years ago on a mirror stream, she was doing an open panel, and this guy comes up. And he starts talking about all this, stuff about how, Latinos are this or that or whatever, and he was clearly a white dude, but he wouldn't show his face and all that stuff, which is fine. He can be white and Latino. Like, I didn't have an issue with that, because the fact of the matter is being Latino isn't a race. It's a culture, right? There are Black Latinos, there are Asian Latinos, there are white Latinos, and there are, native Latinos, and they're all kind of mixing together. I mean, look at Brazil,
Yeah.
Right, it's a cultural thing. It's not a racial thing, And
Yeah.
when you say Hispanic, you mean
be a big booty
of
thing.
or pertaining to Hispaniola or New Spain. So,
And the funny thing about those Spanish guys, they were white too.
Yep.
So yeah, all right. Well, I'm gonna bounce him off a stage there. He had to go do manual labor on somebody else's behalf.
Hold on,
whether or
bro.
not he
I
wants
was the
to.
one saying the slightly suspect stuff. That wasn't Shadow.
No, but Shadow's mom is on his case, so
Just checking.
Either that, he was about to say Spaniards aren't white.
right. Well, that's also kind of a true statement, but Hispanics aren't brown or black either.
Yeah.
They're
mean,
just
I've got a couple,
Hispanics again. That's a cultural thing. It's not a racial thing.
I got a couple of creators that when they came at me from the racist not liking black and brown people, and I was like, "What are you talking about? You're freaking white." I am not, and I was like, "Okay. Are you Mexican?" Yes, as in descended from the Spanish. You're white.
And probably a little black too, due to the Moorish occupation.
Sure. I'm not debating that. I'm more inclusive than most people would believe.
Right. Well, so you guys know who Edward James Olmos is?
Yeah.
So I got to meet him once.
Commander Adama.
Yes, among other things. I got to meet him once at a talk that he gave in Colorado years ago. I went to go see him give this talk, and I got the special ticket so that you go do the meet and greet, shake his hand, and all that stuff. Really nice guy. He's about 3 feet tall, and he's still intimidating as fuck. Yeah, he's really friendly. Really, really friendly, but you get this like sense of presence from him that I don't think is just an acting thing. I think there's he's got a big soul. I don't have a better way to put that. So he's always something.
Played a lot of those traditional Mexican roles, hasn't he?
Right. Well, he one of his best roles ever was as Jaime Escalante, and I think the movie was called Stand and Deliver.
Yes.
Right. He's excellent in that, by the way.
Where's the janitor? Decomposing in my locker.
Yeah. Jaime Escalante, by the way, is a real dude, a very celebrated teacher, and by all accounts, an excellent human being. So what I'm getting at though is, so I take my friend, right? My friend who is of Polish descent, very, very European looking. And her and I go to see this talk. We are the only two non-Hispanics in the audience. Right. It's a packed auditorium full of Mexicans. So he's giving his talk. And at one point during his talk, he says, "Hey, yeah, all my Latinos here. Are you all proud of your Latino heritage?" And they're all like, "Yeah, doing the thing." And he goes, "How many of you are proud of your European heritage?"
Real quiet.
Very quiet. Dead silent. And me and my friend are kind of sort of trying to raise our hands, but please don't kill us.
Yeah. I mean, not all of it.
Yeah. If you're raising your hand to that question, you've got to be real careful how stiff that arm is.
Well, it was vertical. It wasn't at a 45-degree angle, but
there was no angle involved. People, calm down.
Nope. My elbow was very crooked.
Looked like a gay guy tried to hail a cab.
Right. So anyway, he says there's dead silence throughout the auditorium, right? And he looks at everybody and he gives it a beat. He lets everybody sit in the silence for a second. Dude's a hell of a fucking public speaker, by the way. And he goes,
Yeah.
Why not?
Brilliant.
Oh, man. Dude, everybody was sitting there just like you could hear the wheels spinning in people's brains all around you. Like,
I can give you a good solid reason why not. I can give you a good solid. There was this time period in the early 20th century when things went a little haywire, and we became involved in some things that maybe shouldn't have been involved in. I think we can all agree with that.
I don't think we're unique in that.
The rest of the history is also bleak and dismal.
Right. But I mean, we're talking about people who are going around saying, oh, yeah, Viva la Mexico, Viva la Azteca. And I'm like, you guys used to play soccer with people's fucking heads.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yeah. I'm thinking, you don't get to stand on moral high ground here.
I'm fixing to put together a blood sports type setup for a group of people over here. And I'm going to base it around the Mayan head game. The Mayan ball game. That's the idea anyway.
Can you imagine how painful it would be
in the Coliseum
to bounce a severed skull off your fucking elbow, right? And try and make it into the basket or whatever? Or
hell yeah.
Not just that. At the beginning of the game, they would do some kind of a ceremony that would end in a random determination, and one of the people would have their head removed, and that was the ball. It wasn't just a random dude's head. It was your team
also an honor
minutes ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you're also talking about bone-on-bone contact, right? Right, your elbows, your knees are hitting this skull, right? And obviously, it's still got flesh on it, so it's got a little give to it. But it just seems to me that a human head is probably not the best choice for a game ball.
I don't know, dude. The gods must be fed. They require their meals of human souls. I don't know what to tell you, bro. You're still getting them to them today. It's just under a different guise. We don't play games with it no more.
Yeah. So, but almost had a point though, right? He was just like, look, and he laid it out. He's like, look, this is your heritage too. You were descended from Europeans as well as natives, right? Your family has ties to both places, right? So you should be proud of where you came from, all of where you came from, or not at all.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, dude is an amazing speaker. He was a guy who first planted in my head the idea of, he used to say this thing, and I don't necessarily agree with this these days, but at the time, it made a lot of sense. And he said, I think we should take the word race and strike it from the language altogether.
I agree.
Well, in the ancient world, it didn't exist in any way that we think of it now.
Yeah, this is kind of people.
I do not believe there's been any period of history where somebody didn't look at someone else and call them something based on their basic characteristics. It is the easiest way to gin up your opponents.
Right, but it was
calling someone a doofus because they're an asshole is one thing, but
or a hunchback because they're a hunchback.
But if I call you a blind doofus, that might be crossing the line.
No, if you said this fucking doofus, somehow that's hateful.
The doofuses everywhere, sure.
Before I forget, because I have obviously forgotten, one of the things that I used to say at the top of the show that Sasquatch occasionally reminds me of that I should continue to say is that this is the show where we talk about whatever the hell we feel like. This is how it goes. So if you're new here and you're like, why are these guys just randomly bringing up shit? This is kind of what we do. So
why the fuck
Battlestar Galactica throwback?
Right.
What happened? Holy shit! We have the Sith Lord himself, Emperor Palpatine, who's joined the cat.
Sorry, I couldn't.
All right, hold on. Let me deliver some good Sith lines. Well, let's see. I'm here for you, my Emperor. May I serve you? That's a little bit sexual. I'll let it go. It's nice.
Them out. All of them.
All of them.
That's the best Palpatine I can muster on a short
Good.
note.
That's pretty solid.
To answer your question, my dark lord. Yeah, kind of. This is a stream, it's a podcast, whatever you want to call it. I usually list it as a podcast when I'm setting it up on Rumble, just because it's like the easiest in category. Everything else is like mechanic shit or animation or whatever, and none of those apply. So
I mean, if you want to get into the weeds as to how to define this, it's mostly bollocks.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. That's facts. It's mostly bullshit. We are not. It says in the disclaimer below, we're not experts in anything. We just people talking. So
we are not doctors.
Hold on.
Right.
I am a bit of an expert in bullshit.
I forgot. I got to put the thing up.
There we go. We are not doctors, and this is not medical advice. So, if someone were to happen to suggest that you stick broccoli up your asshole, just take it as a suggestion, okay?
Hey, Poppy, I brought my own lightning, but thanks.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we could do that too. Yeah.
It comes up from time to time.
I love you more than the Japanese love the tentacle porn, and I say dance to a stereotype.
Glow sticks out. Let's do this.
Oh man. So, but no, I think almost had some great points. It was a really, really cool talk. I'm glad to have met him. And the only thing he said to me directly though is he was shaking my hand. And he goes, "Hey, you a fan of Battlestar Galactica?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Me too."
Nice.
Well, I mean, would look at you, dude. He knew it's going to be a Dama that he sees me as. This is what. All right, hi, sci-fi kid, you little weeb.
Yeah,
yeah. And I'm towering over him, right? He's sitting down. He's not a tall man to begin with, and I'm 6'5".
Mm-hmm. He's 3'4".
And I am towering over him, and I still felt like the small guy in the room.
You know somebody else that's not as tall as you think they are. The guy who was in the Christmas movie Die Hard. The guy who's Die Hard. What's the bald dude's name? I can't remember his freaking name right now.
Bruce Willis.
Bruce. I kept trying to call him Bill. I always do. Bruce Willis.
Which is weird because he wasn't bald in that movie, but yes.
No, he's been bald forever since then. But anyway, I came across him in the Atlanta airport and ended up like standing 3 feet away from him while he was like wandering through the fast check-in line thing, and he like stopped and went through some stuff, and he looked up at me and he kind of smiled a little bit. I was like, I thought you'd be bigger. He said, everyone does, and walked away.
But did he have a twinkle in his eye?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, it was. I think he stopped there because I saw him walking up. I looked back and saw him, and I looked over at my brother and realized that he hadn't seen him. But I didn't say that because I'm just that type of asshole. So, like, about the time I spoke to him was when my brother realized who he was looking at. But he walked right up, stopped right next to me, and just looked at me because I don't know. No one else recognized him, I guess, but obviously I had, because I probably got that look like a literal light bulb over my head.
Jesus.
Yeah.
What's up, Barbara R? Michelle, welcome.
Yeah, welcome everybody coming in.
Well, there's someone that's
I'd say hi to Emperor Palpatine. He's getting our participation trophy for the night so far. Obviously.
Indeed.
There's someone that's taller than you would expect as well.
Fucking the dude from the Hudsucker Proxy.
Tim Robbins. Tim Robbins is like
Tim Robbins. Yeah. You both fucking read my mind, you cunts.
Well, I've seen him at a distance. I saw him at Dragon Con like many moons ago, and I was utterly astonished. That man's 6'5", 6'6". He is tall.
So Static here
I think he's taller than that. He's like basketball player level tall.
Static,
you would have no idea.
Is saying we're all short. Now, to him, that is true. Static 2020 is like 3 inches taller than me.
Okay, well, that's just freakish.
Taller than him.
It's okay. My dick's bigger. I got no problem with it.
Yeah. Mine's girthier too.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you consider soup can shaped girth.
like a Tootie's head or like a
like Campbell's bean and bacon.
one of the oval
you remember
sardine
those?
cans.
Do you remember those space hoppers from years ago that you could hold by like the handles and jump up and down on them?
Yeah, that might be a good, bro.
Yeah, I think that got lost in the British. What?
It was an
Try
American
again,
thing.
bro. Try again. Say it again.
Forget it.
No, seriously.
Move on.
Say it again.
You said something about space operas long ago, and I thought Star Wars and wondered where you were going with it.
No, it was like a kid's thing. There were like these giant balloons with handles on them.
Space opera.
Oh, are you
Space
talking about like
hoppers.
the
Space
yoga
hopper.
balls?
Fucking hell, Sasquatch.
Like you sit on them and you bounce around and you hold the handle and all that shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, they use those in fucking like adult spin class exercises too. Still.
They
Yeah,
have
they
it
do now. Yeah. Kids don't fuck with them anymore. But
No,
like,
because
this
they're
is gay
dangerous
shit,
as
man.
fuck.
I could bounce too hard and just go flying.
Hold on.
What the fuck?
What was the most dangerous toy you played with as a kid?
Oh, probably my
Weapons
rusted
count?
out full metal Tonka truck.
There's the old cast
You know?
Tonkas. Yeah, you could lose a finger to those things.
Yep.
The worst I had when I was like 9 or 10, I had an uncle pass, and they found a chemistry set in his freaking effects.
I had one of those. Yeah.
One of the old ones in the metal box, right? And they gave it to me, and my dumb ass took it to school and had it confiscated immediately. It actually had uranium in it. It was almost untouched. The only thing that had been taken out of it was the freaking like bicarbonate of soda packets.
Okay,
Holy shit.
I think R. Ellen might have it. That's like
Jarts.
lawn darts, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the brand name for lawn darts. Yeah, Jarts.
So
That's
yeah,
They don't do them
I'll
anymore,
give you
do they?
that. Those were dangerous as fuck because nobody
Dude,
plays
those
with them
things
like
were-
you're supposed to. They toss them straight up in the
you could
fucking air, and
literally
whoever
die
didn't
from
move,
them. Yeah.
yeah, whoever was
tailed by
the
one.
last to move won.
They reinvented a Roman weapon, gave it to kids to play with.
Hey, kid, do you like gladiatorial battles? Well, now you can
I
reenact
do.
them in your backyard.
How many of those little crotch goblins do you want running around?
Fuck it, just turn your yards into crucibles and see who
Yeah.
survives.
I mean, that was the
They're gonna be
80s,
the
man.
only one.
That was the 80s. You know what was super fun?
Do I
When you
not
had slip and
entertain?
slide right next to the lawn darts. Right? The 80s
Well,
was a
and-
wild time, kids.
The smartest kids were the only ones who chose not to play.
Yeah.
This is where I learned the concept of a zero-sum game. I didn't get it through no damn theory. I realized it after surviving a few rounds.
Yeah, there you go. Ardent's got it as well. The Agogi, the Spartan Agogi.
Yeah.
The American Agogi. Here,
The
go play with
American
these kids.
Agogi, yeah.
The 80s were glorious. I don't disagree. I don't disagree, but they were also a
Dude.
wild fucking time. Because like, look, think about it. For example, all of our executives and all of our like people in Hollywood and in the White House and everywhere were unabashedly high as fuck on cocaine, while all of the children of the nation were throwing lawn darts at people who were sliding across the line. You know?
Yeah.
Like everybody
Except
had
now-
guns and fireworks, and by fireworks
only
I mean
thing-
big fucking
The
explosives.
only thing that's changed now, though, Sam, is that the kids don't have the darts.
No, and you can no longer use marbles and paintball guns. The paintballs are smaller now.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
yeah,
true.
using fucking marbles is, fucking dangerous.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you fucking
Accurate as hell,
dangerous?
too, boy. What's up, Lawless? Welcome in, brother. Good to see you.
Yeah, welcome in. And also, no, I didn't die. I gloriously survived. and I don't regret a fucking instant of it, but apparently the rest of the goddamn country does, because look at us, bunch of weak pansies now.
Oh, well, I'll tell you what, I went one better. I did die, and I'm still fucking here.
Well, you were so evil that hell spat you back out. I mean, obviously.
Hell was like, bro, take your dark humor somewhere else. This is rough, man.
I have often said, and people do disagree with me on this. So there's a tendency amongst certain factions of Christian conservatives these days to go out and say anything that if somebody is doing anything they don't like, it's demons. He's possessed by demons. He's being directed by demons. It's not fucking demons. He's just as human as you or I. And guess what? Humans are capable of some pretty awful fucking shit all on their own. So like that. I always draw that distinction. I was like, look, even if there were demons involved, he still has to make that choice, right? It's still on him.
Yes.
Like they can't make you do a goddamn thing. They can show you the door, but they can't make you walk through it.
Yeah.
Right.
Dude,
so
can you highlight Greg S's comment?
Meth's so much cheaper than Coke, but the kids are a lot more stabby now because of it. That's true. That's fair. You don't have to import meth. You can make that shit in your basement.
Yeah.
What up,
just
Arden?
a few ingredients from the local chemist, you're off.
It's not even the chemist, dude. You can get most of that shit at Walmart.
Yeah.
Stop it. Get some
I didn't
help.
say what they were this time.
I'm not giving ingredients.
What you'll need
This isn't a
is an old
recipe.
battery.
Stop it. Get some help.
Right. So, but that's a thing that keeps consistently coming up. And one of the things that I had said at one point that apparently people didn't like very much, but I think is still true, is that
we got Groucho Marx on the panel. Hey, Groucho, what's up?
That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
I'm going to finish my sentence now.
Oh, you're vain, my bro.
Demons marvel at the depravity of mankind with their jaws agape. We are so much worse than they are because we're inventive.
Yeah.
You've read Pierce Anthony for the love of evil. Yeah.
I have.
Yeah.
But he's not wrong.
Dude, one of my favorite scenes in there is with one of the guys, because he has that heart to heart with everybody that goes to hell before he puts them in hell, right? Mm-hmm. He's trying to explain that he's not really a bad guy. But these people are so freaking vile to each other that the conversation he ends up having is like, my unmitigated, aghast, my totally unpolished awe of your ability to harm each other amazes me, and in far more efficient ways than ever before. I literally do nothing, and you create hell on your own.
Mm-hmm.
And blame it on me.
And I'm still to blame, for I am the root of all evil. But you are far more evil than I as individuals.
Yeah. Something else that I take issue with is the idea that there's a being out there that opposes God, but God is, of course, the beginning and end of all of creation. And this being that opposes God does so against God's will and against God's judgment and against God's direction somehow. This being created from him and by him is the source of all evil. I disagree with that. I think if it all comes down to a single creator, then that creator is the father of evil. I think you got to go to the source.
I'm just reading some of these descriptions of meth. Erin's put meth. I don't think I should ask avocado toast of drugs.
Kind of.
Yeah. God, etc. Whatever.
Kind of. I kind of
meth
think
is the gas station sandwich of drugs. I think that's probably more on point.
I think it's closer to the gas station sushi of drugs.
Yeah.
So Pax Americana. Sorry, I said Pax. Sorry.
Well, you're not wrong.
Pax Americana.
That's the dude I want to do a remake on his whole blood sports thing that he's got going. He went Roman. And of course he went Roman. Everybody goes Roman. He should have gone Mayan. They were much more bloody.
Yeah.
I mean, until they disappeared, yeah.
Well, I mean, that was bloody as hell too, bro.
The disappearance fucking wasn't. Everything leading up to it was, but people were sitting down to dinner and then suddenly they weren't. You know, all of Teotihuacan emptied in a second, as far as we can tell, because it's very, very Croatoan like.
Oh, they still sat down to dinner, but they were the dinner.
So, yeah, that's the thing. There weren't bones, there weren't fucking remains. There were remains of human activity, but no remains of humans.
Yeah.
It's like they all just decided to get up and walk into the fucking sea or something.
They were just like, fuck this shit, I'm out. Just walked away.
So, let's talk about that a little bit. Mass disappearances, because the Mayan Empire is one of the greatest mass disappearances in all of history, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And you got things like Roanoke.
I don't know if it is
what became Virginia.
Hold on, the Mayan Empire disappeared, but the Mayans did not. They moved north for a while and then back south for a while, and they became, what was it, the Oxecs for a while, because it was an almost identical culture with different motifs. Showed up like 50 miles north.
You're saying they just rebranded? Yeah, they moved and they rebranded.
I think they were like into another group. I think they actively assimilated into a stronger, more secure group from the area they were in. That's why it looks like they literally finished the land.
What stronger group though? They were the power in the area at that time. I mean, we're talking like 1500 years BC.
Well, that also, being a power though requires them to be a united force, and if they splinter, and then find all of the various areas start migrating.
That was the issue. Is that they went from having a strong emperor to not existing. Is it possible the emperor disbanded the Mayan culture and was like, "All right, we're done. You have a good one. They gotta go home, but you can't stay here."
I've just invented the new avocado toast.
Yeah,
I don't meth.
I don't know.
Amazing.
Here in 45 minutes.
I don't know if I think that works out though, because knowing people as I do, and people haven't changed all over the world. People are the fucking same, right?
Mm-hmm.
At what point do people accustomed to power and comfort and all of those things, right? At what point do people who have lived like that give it up en masse? Individually, sure, but en masse, I don't believe it.
No, when it is a religious dictum, they may.
Only if they're true believers.
That is the only context in which such a situation would make any sense. Because once the leaders disband and there's nobody maintaining, the Kipu and the taxes and the census and stuff like that, there's no culture left.
Right, but that also assumes a Jonestown level of devotion to their religion, right? I don't think that's the case. We're talking about a civilization. There's probably a lot of these guys were fucking paying lip service to their religion.
What up, John Denicola? Good to see you, bud.
Because that always happens.
I don't know if you could go through Mayan society paying fucking lip service. These guys cut people's hearts out on a daily. It wasn't even a thing to them. Yo ass to be a sacrifice too, because said so.
Oh yeah. I know the guy. Yeah.
He's
say that name again, Sasquatch.
Hardy.
Yeah, he was a baller. Great bloke.
I drew a brave part. Stop fucking with me, man.
Well, what's really funny is I think because the Aztecs actually took that shit further. So if you look at the Aztec calendar, right? The Aztec calendar is the Mayan calendar. There is one major difference, but it is not in any of the chronological shit. It's in the very center where they replaced whatever the fuck was there before, because it wasn't a god, with their god, Huitzilopochtli, the sun god, the one that eats the hearts. The Aztecs added that in. The Mayans didn't put that shit on their calendar.
Yeah.
And their culture revolved, I think, far more around blood sacrifice than even the Mayans did.
We got a real OG in the chat. Willie Hobo Ralph over here. Wars in the 1960s and 70s with bottle rockets of Roman candles.
Yeah, we were doing that shit in the 80s and
bro.
90s too.
We had these little things down here called, I've heard them called screaming memes. It's basically a firecracker with a hole in it. And if you just light it, it just spins off into freaking nowhere, right? But if you light it and then thump it, you can kind of drive that thing. You can hit people around a quarter with it if you know what you're doing.
That'd certainly shake up a game of quarters, wouldn't it?
Damn sure does, bro. Thing is like the best way to do it is like up and over something like a mortar, because you can spin it. Once the wick is burned a hair, it spins straight. But then once it starts, it just goes wherever it goes. But you can get it over or around something before it goes off. It's hilarious. Tons of fun. Especially if you've got like, never mind.
Yeah. Yep. So I don't know, but that's so when I talk about the mass disappearance of the mines, obviously I'm talking about the majority of the center of their civilization, like in and around Teotihuacan, right? Which was later appropriated by the Aztecs when they built their empire. But that city is actually much, much older than their civilization. So anyway, but yeah, they just kind of, the ones who were there just sort of weren't. And it all seems to have happened very, very suddenly. And it's not the only place in the world that something like this has happened. It's just one of the largest, known disappearances of that type, obviously. Like I brought up Roanoke, for example.
Right.
There was a Chinese battalion, and I forget whether this was World War I or World War II. I think one, but I could be wrong on this. That was on its way. It was marching across, wherever the fuck part of Asia it was in to go to war, to get to the front. And the battalion at that time, I think in China was like 20,000 men, right? And they never got there, and nobody's seen or heard from them since. They're just gone. There's no remnants. There's no nothing. They're just not where they were supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Alexander the Great lost just shy of a legion crossing the Arabia.
Yeah, the Arabic Peninsula.
The peninsula.
The legion that he lost, he actually ordered to go look for water in a direction, while others went and looked for water in other directions. And one of them found the water, they regrouped, went back, and that legion just never came back.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys ever read Phantoms by Dean Koontz?
God, Ben Affleck was the bomb in that. Almost couldn't get it out because I was laughing about it.
So before Ben Affleck was the bomb in that movie, and then they made that joke in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, it was a novel. And in this novel, it posits that there was a primordial sludge-like being that is responsible for all of these disappearances. It just fucking ate these people. Like, it dissolved them inside itself and absorbed all their knowledge. And then it started to think of itself as Satan.
Well, it was doing evil.
Well, it was, but it was also like learning from the it was like absorbing the memories and the in the minds of the people that
it was the priest that did it. You know it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, at one point it just started to think of itself as the living embodiment of evil, when in fact it might not have been. It might have just convinced itself that it was. But it was, however, eating entire civilizations. So
that's a very naughty boy.
Anyway, it was an interesting idea to account for all of those disappearances. It doesn't really account for how the fuck it got around from continent to continent, but whatever.
Yeah. Magic, whatever.
Yeah. But it was just an interesting idea that I thought. Plus, the book's pretty good. It's a pretty solid book.
You remember that time Pierce Anthony and Dean Koontz wrote the same novel? There's another book called Firefly that's about a virtually identical story to Phantoms. Like, if I tell you the story, it's the same as Phantoms. A primordial sludge that embodies Satan, evil, and all things bad comes up, and yada yada yada. Mm-hmm. Only in Firefly, it's more to stay than it is just to have a bite, I mean, we're
Hold
basically.
on. I saw that episode of Star Trek The Next Generation. Poor old Tasha Yar.
Armus, skin of
And
evil.
she never came back until she did as a Romulan.
Yeah.
Which takes some explaining.
Yeah.
So Old Blindy says there is no evil, only squirrel, which must be destroyed. So on that note, and I don't want to get too deep into the fucking topic or anything, but I did find this meme that I think is accurate and appropriate and matches up with this comment pretty well.
There is no Old Blindy, only Zool.
That is true. Oh my God, that's so fucking true.
100% true.
Oh my God, dude.
That's fucking depressing, isn't it?
All right, so what happens when they release a video proving Epstein offed himself? Is it AI?
I mean, this is the danger of the technology.
Could be. I don't know. And here's the thing. I'm not that great at spotting whether something or not is AI, right? So, like, it could be. I don't know.
It's harder. It's getting hard right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I wasn't that good at it to begin with. If they don't got like 18 knuckles on a pinky, I'm not going to pick it out.
Didn't I show y'all the AOC campaign, the presidential, the AI presidential campaign she did? That was done. No,
I don't think so.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I'll be right back.
Okay.
Oh, I think we're in for a treat somehow.
Somehow, yeah, definitely. But yeah, no, that's 100% true because earlier this year they did arrest a squirrel.
Yeah.
Which, why?
A poor little fucker.
Everything about that is stupid, by the way. Right? Since when are squirrels subject to the laws of man? First of all. Secondly, he wasn't hurt nobody. The people were raising they weren't hurting nobody. They were a little kooky, but they weren't hurting nobody. You know.
Yeah, it just boils down to bullshit licensing laws again, though, doesn't it?
You know what I think it is, though, actually, is that squirrel had fucking dirt on everybody in Washington. That's what it was.
I bet that squirrel knew everything about the Clintons.
Yeah. Well, maybe not the Clintons, because if it was the Clintons,
hilarious.
they would have been found a victim of self-inflicted hanging while shot in the back 3 times, yeah.
Oh, no, that poor squirrel got suicided. Oh.
Right.
All right. Don't judge me for knowing about this, but this comes from a little channel called Mr. Reagan.
Okay.
I'm going to let it speak for itself 100%.
I hope there's going to be some big booty jokes in here.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez am announcing my candidacy for president.
Well, for me, not for me.
Disclaimer, this is AI. This is not real, but I do not know how she's going to possibly run, considering this AI has already stolen all of her platforms.
Yep.
I don't know how she'd possibly run being a retard, but she's gonna.
Oh, God, just watch.
A lot of people say that I'm not patriotic, but my IQ is 76, and all 4 fathers signed a contract. You don't get more patriotic than that. Tony, that I'm inauthentic. But you know what I say to that? Being fake is a good thing. It isn't 1952 anymore. It doesn't matter if we're technically correct. What matters is that we're morally right.
I think that there's a lot of people more concerned about being precisely, factually, and semantically correct than about being morally right.
It's better if people think you care when you don't than think you don't when you do. It's about perception. It's not about doing great things. It's about making people think you're doing great things. Remember that time I got fake arrested and put my hands behind my back to pretend that I was handcuffed?
Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez pretending he was handcuffed, all for show, before pumping her fist to a crowd of cheering supporters. She's putting her hands behind her back as if she's handcuffed. There were no handcuffs to be seen.
These are the kind of theatrics that I will bring to the White House. I don't know, but people think I do. and that's good. Donald Trump, on the other hand, he isn't really racist, but everybody thinks he is. That's bad. The trick is to speak with confidence, even when you have no idea what you're talking about.
All right. Has she got your vote yet?
Oh, 100%, dude. If we're going to go full retard, let's go full retard, man.
I mean, I was sold on the podium from the get-go. Rules for thee, not for me.
Well, here's the term, the occupation of Palestine. What did you mean by that? Oh, I think what I meant is like in some of these areas and places where
stole for time
are experiencing difficulty in access to their housing and homes. I am not the expert on geopolitics on this issue.
So this part is that part right there. That's not AI. That was a real thing that she really said.
That was the 60 Minutes bit.
Yeah.
There's a couple more in here that's just. Oh, Gordon Ramsay would be so proud of this.
I at least know the basics. I know that the three chambers of government are the presidential, the House, and the Senate.
To make sure that we take back all three chambers of Congress, all three chambers of government, the presidency, the Senate, and the House.
So
This lady is already in Congress and doesn't know.
Yeah.
Fucking Christ.
Being a flirtatious bimbo has gotten me pretty far in life. But the truth is that I'm a lot savvier than you think. My boyfriend bought me a puzzle for my birthday last year. It said 4 years plus. But you know what? I finished it in just 6 months. Don't let anything a man can do. I mean, ladies, men aren't really that clever anyway. Am I right? My boyfriend doesn't even pay attention when he makes orange juice. I'm like, babe, it says it right there on the label. Concentrate. You know what I'm talking about. I'm so dumb. Why are people still voting for me? I am a communist. A communist. That's crazy. I mean, you know what communism is, right? We take everything from everybody so that everybody is poor except us. It's about redistributing wealth to me. Bernie basically said it the other day.
Where's the lie, bro?
Free weekend. Bernie Sanders spent $221,000 on private jets fighting the oligarchy tour, paid for by friends of Bernie Sanders. That you've spent millions of dollars in campaign funds on private jet travel over the years.
Think I'm going to be sitting on a waiting line at United, waiting, 30,000 people are waiting. That's the only way you can get around. No apologies for that. That's what campaign travel is about. We've done it in the past. We're going to do it in the future.
See, Bernie said it openly, and you guys still vote for us.
Wow.
I mean, did you guys hear Bernie's fucking recent fucking interview where he basically said, yeah, they're all full of shit, and so was I.
I missed it. When was this?
This is like 4 days ago, something like that. I wish I had it pulled up, but now he went was having an interview with somebody, I don't remember who. It was some news outlet or whatever, but he was basically saying, yeah, the Democratic Party fucked me in 2016. Yup, that happened.
Yep.
He's like, they're and they make shit up when shit's not going their way. Like, yeah, but he laid it all out, like all the shit we've been saying for fucking years, and he came right out and said all that stuff. And I was like, okay, so you're gonna apologize to the billionaires now?
Millionaires.
Millionaires and the billionaires.
On our private jets, shooting a Brazilian gallons of CO2 into the atmosphere, while you guys all drive your government-mandated Nissan Leaf and eat your government-mandated bug protein. Like, why would anyone vote for that? But you do, because we do genius-level propaganda.
Again, where's the fucking lie?
Geniuses.
Yeah.
So when you vote for AOC, you're voting for, like, a genius. And just remember, we are morally right. So we never have to actually be factually correct.
My next question is, how the hell does she run now that she has no platform left to run on?
Exactly. She's fucked.
I mean, look, she isn't very popular with her current constituents. I don't know how the fuck they haven't primaried the fuck out of her yet. Because like, her actual constituents, the ones who voted her in, are pissed at her.
Nancy Pelosi once said out loud in an interview or through a hot mic thing that if you stuck a D on a bottle of water, it would win in her district.
I thought you were going to say Nancy Pelosi said, "This bitch."
She called her husband's buddy with the hammer to take care of the problem.
Oh yeah.
Not that I'm making fun of Paul Pelosi getting whacked upside the head with a hammer in his underwear. That's fucked up. It shouldn't happen to
That'll
anybody.
never not be funny.
That's kind of what you get for inviting a fucking gay psycho into your house and then pumping him full of fucking methamphetamines. But anyway,
yeah,
that last part, I was allegedly.
Thanks, Sam.
You're voting for a genius.
Yeah, because we do genius level propaganda.
Right?
Okay, no.
I've played that on every show I've been on the past 2 weeks. I can't believe I missed you.
Yeah, when we're the fucking last to see it, man. What the fuck?
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Come on.
Let me see if I can find that thing with Bernie here.
That whole thing with Bernie as well. Like, I fucking hate hypocrites. It's one of the few groups of people on earth I have genuine hatred for. And I'm not a huge fan of Margaret Thatcher, but she said something once which still resonates with me. She said, the problem with socialism is that eventually you run out of other people's money.
Yes, exactly. I had a conversation with a National Socialist the other day. Don't ask me how this ended up happening. It was
that was in confidence. Damn it, Sasquatch.
It wasn't you. It was a different one. Listen.
Don't outshadow.
A different one. Listen, there's a lot of these guys running around, all right?
Come on, Sam told you that in confidence too.
Here's the thing.
Did you talk into a mirror?
Capitalism has a tendency of overreaching in every direction for profit. Communism has a tendency of taking everything from everyone and giving nothing back. Socialism is the process by which you take from capitalism to give to communism. And without all three systems functioning in the modern world, our entire society collapses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. I found a clip. It's in a private chat. Sasquatch, if you would be so good as to bring it up.
Oh, sure. I got you.
Yeah, this way I'm not talking out of my ass on this, but yeah, Andrew Schultz, who is a stand-up comic and a rather good one, also does podcasty shit.
He's not bad. He's not bad.
I didn't even know.
I think he's pretty funny.
Yeah, he can be. Vote the Zool.
All right, here we go. Took me a second to figure out how to make it big and to bigify it.
It's got a little expand arrow in the corner.
Yeah, no, I kept hitting the wrong one.
There
you go.
We didn't even know if Biden was president. We didn't even know if these were her talking points. And we felt that over the last 4 elections, Democrats, we felt that we didn't have a say on who could be president. We talk a lot about the Republicans being autocrats and oligarchs and taking over democracy, but from the Democrat perspective, and I'm a lifelong Democrat, I felt like the Democratic Party completely removed the democratic process from its constituents. And I think they need to have some accountability of that.
No argument here.
I donated for you. I mean, I wanted you to 2016. I was like, this is going to happen. This guy's going to do it. And it felt like they stole it from it.
The body language on this is absolutely phenomenal. Look at Bernie's reaction to this phrase here, right?
The problem I think a lot of voters had is like they didn't even know if it was her. We didn't even know if Biden was president. We didn't even know if these were her talking points. And we felt that over the last 4 elections,
when it first goes back to Bernie,
Democrats, we felt
look at his eyes.
We didn't have a say on who could be president. We talk a lot about the Republicans being autocrats and oligarchs and taking over democracy, but from the Democrat perspective, and I'm a lifelong Democrat, I felt like the Democratic Party completely removed the democratic process from its constituent.
That is what's called a micro expression.
Mm-hmm.
This is him physically saying the words he will not be allowed to say in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we call a nonverbal agreement with the thing being said.
Right. And then he goes into absolute anger. This is angry grandpa. Grandpa who's not taking it no more.
Mm-hmm.
Some accountability of that.
No argument here.
I donated for you. I mean, I wanted you to the 2016. I was like, this is going to happen. This guy's going to do it, and it felt like they stole it from me. And I'll be honest, it broke my heart when you
literally holding his breath.
Mm-hmm.
Look, but you have.
On a side note,
you got a choice.
I got to say, on a side note here, that I never really took Schultz for a lifelong Democrat because he doesn't carry himself that way. He doesn't treat people, in the way that we've come to expect from that sort of thing. He tends to take people on a case-by-case basis, which is a cool thing. Until I saw him just now rocking that mustache with that Mr. Rogers sweater.
It's the socks. Don't lie. It is
the socks. Yeah, and the socks. It's like that's a very Democrat look. I'm just saying.
Yep. Yeah, like the cross legs where your balls can't go anywhere, exposed socks. It's so
he's sitting on his nuts. He's sitting on his nuts. They're tucked back up under his butt, right? Because it's the only way a man can sit in his collar. Like
They come all the way across his back. Oops. Like up. Up the back, tucked into his collar.
No, you're all wrong.
Serious old man nuts.
You need to check his boyfriend's pocketbook. That's where his nuts are.
I don't think he's gay, man.
Oh, yeah.
It's a pretty gay sweater.
Including my wife. But you're down to a choice. Is it going to be Hillary Clinton or is it going to be Donald Trump? Not a great choice.
But it ended up being him anyway. So why don't we burn it down?
That's a fair point.
Because it's easy to say burning it down means that children are not going to have, food to eat, that the schools will deteriorate. People will
no,
not
that's
have,
an excuse, Barry.
And I'm an elected official. I got to represent the people.
That's fair.
And I can't turn my back on it.
Total strawman argument.
Right. I mean, why burn it down? I don't understand the question.
See, when first of all, when Schultz says burn it down, he's not talking about burning down the infrastructure of the fucking country, right? Which is how Bernie took that, right? He's talking about burning down the establishment that keeps fucking the people.
The Democrat establishment specifically, right?
That's what he's saying. He's not saying, hey, we should fucking, actually literally set fire to the whole country. That's not what he said at all, but that's how Bernie took it. This whole thing about their children won't get their medicine, they won't get their food, they won't get their education and all that stuff, as if the Democrats are holding any of that, are upholding any of that shit in the first place. They're not.
Okay, I got you.
And if anything approaching the kind of revolution that this guy claims to want would ever happen, all of his shit would go overnight. He would cease to be a millionaire.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I thought he believed in redistribution of wealth.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
No, don't let him fool you with his sudden turnaround. The dude's a fucking commie, and he always has been.
Yeah, he's a career politician.
If ostensibly there hasn't been a fair primary for the Democrats since 2008, are they not also a threat to democracy? Yes. We often hear.
Fair enough. That is. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that point.
He's also not going to elaborate.
No, he isn't. But he's telling the truth in this. Aside from that little quibble about, well, I couldn't say anything because it would affect so many people. No, it wouldn't, dude. It would probably have boosted your popularity, first of all, if you came out in 2016 and said, this is what they're fucking doing, and it's fucking evil.
Yeah.
Right?
Or he would have ended up, being one of those people who shot himself in the back 3 times while hanging himself from a tree with an electrical cord.
I think that it would less likely to happen to him, though, because he was so high profile and he was actually a political opponent. Because if that was the case, man, they would have taken, Hillary. If Hillary had been behind any of the attempts on Trump's life, Trump would be fucking dead.
I've got 2 additional topics. But pick A or B.
Are they behind your back?
No, they're right out in front, but you can't see them. They're behind your back.
Oh, they're behind
okay,
my back.
which one of your balls are we talking about here?
I mean, my left one's bigger. So.
Are they tucked around the back?
A or B.
Are they in the collar?
No, because I don't sit with my legs crossed like that. I'm fucking man spreading, bitch.
My
balls are right out.
Don't judge me. A or B.
Let's go with B.
All right. Did
I'm going to go A, B, E.
Imagine if the leap from ape to human.
All right. So this is one of my favorite topics. Are you familiar with the stoned ape theory?
Yeah.
All right. So in a nutshell, there was a certain aspect of our history that was spent on the African savannah, right? And ostensibly, some of these troops of people-like creatures would have followed the herds. Inevitably, they would have come across the herd's detritus, which would grow mushrooms. The idea is that the reasons the one that were crossing the savannas became intelligent was because they ate the mushrooms provided by the game animals that they followed.
Yeah.
So here's my question. How much do you think psychedelics had to do with human development?
I think there's certainly a component of that, for sure. But when it comes to like physiological development, very little.
I don't know. When you introduce, cats are, as I understand it, cats have a different serotonin uptake complex, and so they're immune to LSD. They do not trip when exposed to LSD. This was discovered when some college students were making LSD in a lab somewhere in freaking academia, and a cat got into the batch and then ran off, and there was a rash of just absolute crazy sightings and stuff.
I was going to say, like, who's wasting LSD on cats?
Oh no! Apparently, the cat jumped in from transom window. Apparently, someone was doing some lab, and the cat got in and fell in the pan or something. I don't know exactly. I just remember specifically they were making blotter sunshine window pane.
Oh, so it could just lick it.
It fell in the vat. It fell in the basket.
It fell in the vat.
I don't know.
Fucking hell, that's the Joker origin story.
It is pretty much. And but anyway.
Well, did the cat crawl out of the vat? And fucking hell, this is a Dr. Seuss rhyme now.
Turned into a Dr. Seuss rhyme, dude.
The cat fell in the vat and then became a bat. It flew out.
And everybody tripped their balls.
You put on a lab coat, he's like, Jesse, we need to cook.
All right, so here's the thing. Visual stimulation is one of the things that led to humanity becoming conscious and sapient and sentient and the whole nine, right? One of those things is the domestication of fire, and the fact that let us stay awake longer into the night, and we would sit there and stare into the fire, which would stimulate brain activity that was previously unknown, might even be slightly responsible for the origin of dreams. But I don't think anyone can deny the similarity between the hallucinogenic experience of mushrooms to your direct dreams, right? I don't think that's a coincidence.
So there are certain parallels between certain kinds of hallucinogenics and the type of things that your brain does while you're dreaming. Sure. There's a reason that shamans and such use hallucinogens to sort of enhance their little spirit journeys or whatever, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's like there is a connection there, but I don't think that I think the psychedelics are a tool, not the cause.
All right. So let me write this one by you. When I was a kid, we used to breed dogs, right? We would breed dogs. We would take on dogs for other people to train them for certain things, search and rescue, body recovery, that type of stuff. 20% of dogs will eat magic mushrooms if they stumble across them. The rest of them will disdain them. Some of them will pee on them. But 20% will just immediately gobble them up.
Sure, but I was going to use dogs actually as an example myself, because dogs also dream. All dogs dream.
As an observation, after a dog eats those mushrooms, he is absolutely useless for trading.
Oh yeah,
you can't do nothing with them.
Yeah, I imagine that's true. But that's my point is that other forms of life that we might consider on the lower scale, right, also dream, right? So does that mean they were all eating fucking mushrooms if mushrooms are the catalyst for this sort of thing, or do mushrooms maybe not have anything to do with dreaming and they're just sort of tangentially connected to it?
Well, I would agree with the tangential aspect of it, except for the fact that we, as a species, and I mean, I'm not talking culture or anything like that. I mean, just our biology spent an awful long time crawling around in the northern African veldt over there. And there was a bunch of mushrooms over there. And we do have a tendency to eat mushrooms for no explicable reason. Yeah, sure, they've got all kinds of vitamins and stuff in them, but they eat nothing but dead stuff, dude. Mythologically speaking, we should disdain mushrooms. And yet, not only do we eat them,
I'm with you. I'm with you.
delicacies.
You know how I am about fungus. they ain't like us,
As a
man.
fungus among us.
They're not like us. They're not like plants. They're somewhere in fucking between, and yet they exhibit properties of both, and they are out to get us
they're
all. They're
borderline
all
alien
connected.
compared to
They
everything
share
we
a
know.
fucking
Yeah.
hive mind across the entire universe through the mycelial network, and they are going to destroy us all. Fuck mushrooms.
Hold on, if
But
you think
that's
about
our
it, though,
revenge. We just eat them.
but if you think about it, though, in the realm of life, mushrooms are the anti-entropy of life. Without mushrooms, you would inevitably ruin the soil. You would destroy the topographical nature of the biome, because nothing would break it down so that it could be reused. Without mushrooms is a linchpin. Without mushrooms, life would not exist on this planet.
I think that's mushroom propaganda. I think spreading spores into your fucking brain, man, making you think that's true.
Yeah, he's one of their agents.
I'm just saying, look, if they were so beneficial, why does cordyceps exist?
Well, you don't know. Maybe they've got the right of it. I don't know. Dude.
Maybe
crotch
cordyceps
rot.
are like the racists of the mushroom world.
You're not wrong.
We must dominate.
See his ant coming along with a little white hood coming out of his head because it's growing out of his head.
Let's advance a little further through time. Let's get off of the veldt. They're in the caves of Europe, and Yakub has already created us to just and we rediscover mushrooms. Why does it take on such a prominent space in some of the cultures that came out of the pre-Stone Age? And they're in everything. They're everywhere. Just about every bowl we find has traces of not just mushrooms in general, but specifically magic mushrooms.
Because they can get everywhere.
Graham Hancock has entered the chat.
They're not limited by the normal 4 dimensions of space that we move.
Not literally, Sasquatch.
I don't even think they're terrestrial in origin.
Yeah, it's possible.
I would make an argument. Hold on, I'd make an argument for an out of India approach, and that we have the pongid line rather than the chimpanzee or gorilla line, right? Because there is a gap there. And our hip structure and shoulder structure is much more similar to the pongans than they are to the chimps. The only reason we associate so strongly with chimpanzees is because our genetically speaking, it is like 0.3% more likely. It's a tiny, tiny bit. And quite a bit of genetics can change in a few generations under the right pressures. And the, what was it, Tonga eruption 49,000 years ago completely denuded the Indian subcontinent of any evidence of occupation.
Yeah. The whole out of Africa theory has been discredited for quite some time now.
Oh, I think Jay Rilla knows that. Yeah.
The multi-regional hypothesis of modern human evolution now has far more evidence backing it.
I think that's
it makes
that's
people
entirely possible.
uncomfortable.
Although you know what makes it more uncomfortable? My personal favorite that I've been having to fucking defend because the Hodge twins listen to fucking idiots on their podcasts.
Yeah, but it's funny as shit though.
Right, is the idea that you know, all people were created in the image of God, who's pretty white, and then Cain went and murdered his brother and said some ugly shit, and he got turned black, and all his children were also black. Thank you, Mormons, for that.
Yeah.
You're the descendants of Cain, the first murderer.
Well,
obviously,
even
I don't believe that myself,
Adam,
but it is pretty funny.
Even Adam in the original Hebrew, I think, is supposed to mean something like to show redness in the face or to have a blood face.
I was pretty sure it meant something like first.
Well, that's also one of the problems, is that these words can have many meanings.
Yeah.
And of course, because of that, people will interpret them to fit whatever agenda they've decided that they believe is true.
Well, that's the problem with Hebrew. Hebrew is a very, very, very versatile language, right? Like way more than English is.
Just to be clear, folks, that's the problem with Hebrew, the language, not Hebrews.
Well, Hebrews aren't a thing anymore. You got Jews and you got Arabs. You know, Hebrews are gone.
Yeah.
You know, but the language itself,
people died a long time ago.
Yeah, the language itself is extremely versatile. It is probably one of maybe 3 languages on Earth that is more suited to puns than English is.
Yeah,
because every word means 6 different fucking things.
Yeah.
I don't know how they get any communicate at all in that language, because like you got to know all the subtleties,
like a cipher.
Right? You know, Static, at some point we may do that actually. If you'd like to be on for that, I think that'd be pretty funny. Because I got some things to say about that, because it's like, look, they got some shit right, but they got some shit way fucking wrong too. You know, for those who don't know, The Godmakers is a animated documentary, quote unquote documentary, made years ago to talk shit basically about the Mormons. I'm not saying, look, here's the thing. There's plenty of shit to mock the Mormons for. We don't need to make shit up. That's all I'm saying.
I was going to say it's pretty easy to do in all fairness.
Hold on now. I love Mormon women.
Yeah. Me too.
I'm not explaining.
I would have to say,
Sasquatch likes soaking.
I was gonna make a soaking joke, motherfucker.
You weren't quick enough. And Sasquatch is though. That's why he's into soaking.
Hey, Sasquatch, right? Give me $50. I'll jump on the bed for you. It's all above board.
You know what's funny about that? It's like, I'm sure some of those kids probably did engage in that in the misguided, concept that if they didn't move around, then it didn't count as intercourse. But fact is most of them, if they want to get around that, they just do anal.
Yeah, no, they just do anal. I'm telling you, girls are awesome.
Like, soaking's just way too fucking much work, man.
Dude, I knew this one Mormon chick. I never met a Mormon before in my life. This chick handed out anal like they were hand jobs.
Yeah, because it's because she still had her hymen.
And she was handing out hand jobs. God damn.
Yes.
Yeah, Arden Party.
He was handing out handies.
you're in this comment. At least you're only making fun of the ones that begin with an M.
Yeah.
Are you literate, sir? I knew it.
He's illiterate.
Mhm.
Right? See what I did there?
Yeah.
Yeah. Get you and your multi-layered jokes, Mister. I can read.
Look.
We're
It's
stuck
not
with
my
the
fault.
picture books.
It is not my fault that you only have picture books in England and Grant eats books because he's Australian.
Yeah, well, they're tasty.
Right? I mean, for Australia, maybe. You know, it's like it's that or eucalyptus, I guess.
Fucking John in chat there. I'm only guessing because I've seen lots of pictures of words. If you're gay and you're Jewish, does that make you Hebrew?
I thought I'd already seen that.
I feel like I've seen that joke before, but it's still good.
Absolutely.
Fucking hell.
Charles Darwin. We're getting a whole lot up tonight, y'all.
Right.
Charles Darwin. Oh, it needs Jesus Christ in here and it's on.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Got all the, actually Jesus has been in the chat before.
He has.
Yeah.
Well.
Yep. Jesus Christ came into the chat one time. I think one time with Charles Darwin, didn't he?
Yeah, no, but we didn't have that day.
Oh man, that's too much fun. That's too much fun. I don't know.
I went to a birthday stream earlier with a man who is celebrating his birthday, and his wife was coming home from the hospital to celebrate her birthday. He was married to his wife, had the same birthday, and my response was, I would have gotten married on my birthday and took care of all that crap with a trifecta. We'd had one big ass bang off and be done every year. Hold up. If you're working on a hangover, does that mean you're drinking currently and expect a hangover later, or are you at work with a hangover? Because these are very different things.
Somehow I think we're on the blacklist. I don't think we're going to be getting any help.
No, I've had talking to me regular. He just,
Lord help us, Tampa says he could stick Jesus up with a message right quick for down. But I've tried. I know other people who have tried so far. I mean, he only shows up in chat occasionally.
Yeah.
Shows up when he wants to. Never a Messiah around when you need one, right?
I know, right?
Sometimes I thank God for unanswered prayers.
Oh man.
Fucking hell.
Hey, Primal One, good to see you, man. Haven't seen you in the chat in a while.
Right?
Oh my.
I had to break out some Garth Brooks on that one.
Yeah. I don't know, man. As Mormons are funny people. They are. Because I think South Park had a point about them, right? And I don't know that it's necessarily like true across the board, but if a religion, if something that a person believes is completely batshit, is possibly even completely bullshit, but by them following said religion, it leads them to be happy, healthy, genuinely good, and contributing to the world and the society and the people that they live in a positive and overall good way. Does it really matter if it's bullshit that they believe? Right? Because it's obviously pointed them in a direction where they're, genuinely trying to be good people.
I mean, granted, the only Mormons I've ever met are missionaries, and they've all been really nice people.
Yeah,
but
well,
that's kind of
in
the
their
job.
case, they're the salesmen. They have to be.
They are the salesmen. Yeah.
But here's the thing: is like I was raised Mormon, so was Gal, right? I grew up around them my whole life. Half the fucking friends that I have from childhood are Mormon still to this day, right? And they're all married with big fucking families, and some of their kids are now about to have kids, right?
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time in fucking Utah and other places. I've done baptism for the dead, which is one of their practices. Back when I was still a member and I was younger. You know, and I've experienced a lot of this stuff. I've been in several temples. I've been to, you know, a lot of different shit. By the way, the Mormon Tabernacle building has some of the coolest fucking acoustics on planet Earth. Just saying.
Yeah.
You know, it's a
By
very,
design,
very
of course.
well-designed fucking building for sound.
Yeah.
But you know, so like I've
You've
been
got to
around it my
manufacture
whole
holiness
life.
somehow, you know.
Right. Well, you know, I mean, there's a reason that their choir is world famous. They're very good at what they do, and they make sure that the sound naturally does what. You know what?
Yeah.
They don't use auto-tune. They just fucking sing in a room designed to fucking amplify their voices, which is kind of how it's supposed to be, in my opinion.
To make it sound like a chorus of angels.
Well, or, you know, just good. You know?
Yeah, being good helps. Yeah.
Like sounding good is like always a good thing. But you know, I've been around it my entire fucking life. There are good Mormons and there are very bad Mormons. There are great people and there are fucking evil people in that religion. And you know what that has in common with everybody else? Is that it's true of everybody else too.
Yep.
You know, the only real difference between Mormons, aside from some of their fucking whacked out beliefs, and by the way, I do have kind of an issue with people who go around fucking picking on these guys because they believe that you know, a couple of magic stones let a guy look into a hat and read, you know, ancient tablets and all that. That's a problem for you guys, but the idea that a guy who was tortured to fucking death got up 3 days later and didn't immediately murder every one of his fucking tormentors, that's the believable part. Come on. You know, like you guys believe in fucking strange shit too. Let's be honest.
Do you know about getting tortured to death and getting up 3 days later? He was definitely got it. Right.
You know,
but not killing everyone around him afterwards. That's the unbelievable part.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying is like, let's be honest, all religions have some kind of belief that, you know, is unbelievable to non-believers, right? That's why they don't believe. So leaving all of that shit aside, the only real difference between Mormons that I've seen is that they have a cultural kind of tendency to be more involved and active in community shit. And they really, 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 really like refreshments and potlucks. Like you go to a Mormon event, you are not going home hungry. I'm just saying.
Like free food.
Yeah. You know, I will say that there typically tends to be an overabundance of peach cobbler, which gets a little old, but you know.
I just take a longer plastic tub, eat shit all week.
Right. You know, but yeah, they're very, 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 very much about the food thing. They tend to be fairly active people though, too. It's like you show up to do a job, like, you know, I mean, not exactly barn raising maybe, but you know, you dig trenches or you're helping a guy fix his deck or, you know, you're doing whatever, but there's always food present, but you're also working it off at the same time. You're burning those calories. So, you know? Like they said, what's that old joke? Sasquatch is how many Mormons does it take to change a light bulb? It's like 41, 1 to change the light bulb and 40 to bring refreshments.
Basically.
Yeah. It's true story, man. Been around these people my whole life. That joke kills even among them because it's fucking true.
Nice.
This is good. But yeah, no, I don't know. I think personally, like, I don't have a problem mocking them if you don't, you know, like, you mock whoever you fucking want to, but at least be accurate about it.
Yeah.
You know, like make fun of the magic underwear because that is a thing, you know, sure. Right. But when people go on about now, to be fair, some of it is old jokes too. Like we still make fun of, you know, English people, for example. We call you limeys, even though your dental stuff hasn't been nearly as bad in couple of 100 years as it was when y'all were on the high seas all the time without any fucking lemons.
Yeah, we've actually got some of the best dental care in the world.
Right. Well, but the point is like, so we still make those jokes. We still say limey when we refer to a British person because it's kind of ingrained. So like I get some of that. So like some of the stuff about the polygamy with the Mormons.
And right? He is green.
Yeah.
So
I am green. Touche.
He is green. But like the polygamy shit with the Mormons, with the actual, you know, Mormon church, that is no longer a thing. Like, yes, they do believe that all marriages, like if you marry more than one woman in your lifetime, you're going to be married to all of them in heaven, kind of shit. They do believe that. But because the law of the land outlawed polygamy, they stopped practicing it. The ones who still practice it are no longer part of that group. They are offshoots, and they are much, much more cultish and scary because they...
Isn't that the Seventh-day Adventists?
No, the Seventh-day Adventists are a completely different fucking set of fucked up.
What are those? Those are
the Adventists are the ones who think that like washing feet and like drinking blood is like a literal thing.
My bad.
Yeah. Those guys are a little out there.
Hardcore.
Yeah, but no, these are the fundamentalists, the FLDS, who all occupy southern Utah, right, in the canyons and shit like that. They're like little fucking enclaves of. Yeah, well, it's almost like Appalachia in the desert, you know.
Oh my God, that's just the hills have eyes. Part 3.
Yes, it is, and they will do fucked up shit. And there are stories about them like fucking murdering people and shit. You know,
as part of our rituals, we all skin our enemies' faces and we tan them into leather.
Right,
and then we all run around with chainsaws.
So, but they will do that shit. And then you've got the reorgs, who are another splinter group who have recently had to stop calling themselves the reorg Mormons because they have gone against everything and due to pressures from all the other denominations, renounced the very foundation of their whole religion, which is the Book of Mormon. Right, bunch of pussies, if you ask me. By the way, if you have religious convictions,
saying,
fucking stick by them.
I'm Christian. I use the Satanic Bible as my
right thing. Well, here's the thing: is the Mormons believe in the Bible too. You know, the Old Testament and New Testament. They just say the Book of Mormon is supplementary material, right? It's additional material. It's not, you know. But that there's a problem with that because
do this. I've been holding this one back for a while. The Book of Mormon is like the update material for the TSR edition of 2nd edition. It's like the Fighter's Handbook, the Wizard's Handbook, the Mage's Handbook, and all that stuff. It's not actually part of the holy material, but is meant to be consumed alongside.
The Book of Mormon is basically expensive DLC that no one really wants.
Well, that's the thing though, is that of all the non-Muslim religions out there in the world, it is one of the fastest growing.
Yeah.
But that's also because they send their missionaries to literally everywhere, including commie China.
Yeah.
Dude, them boys are hardcore. So some of the best guys I ever met. By the way, Stu, if you're watching, you the man. I moved into a place one time. When we moved in, like half of the joint was completely trashed. I brought like 3 or 4 boxes, dropped them off, went to bed, slept on the floor, got up the next morning, went to work, was going to come get another load of crap that afternoon. Come back that afternoon, all of our stuff is unpacked and stashed away in various places.
Yeah.
Nice.
The walls have been painted, the carpet's been put in, there's a stove in place, the hot water heater's been fixed. All of my D&D material, mine and my roommates, had been opened, separated into our separate things and put in separate bookshelves. Somebody unpacked for us while we were gone. Find out later, it was the Mormons. Said they were bored and they had the key. And I was like, why do you have a key? He was like, well, we put in the stove and the hot water heater. And I was like, and then you unpacked everything.
You say to them, why'd you do that? And they were like, I got the key. I got the secret.
Christ wasn't in that apartment.
Yeah, but they didn't take anything, did they? They didn't destroy anything.
In fact, after we came home that day, like imagine my shock of
did leave refreshments.
No, planning to come in and unpack like a bunch of crap, like going out to the house to the other house and getting another load of shit to bring over and maybe unpacking it. Our evening's shot, right? That's the end of that. We got to go to bed, go to work tomorrow, and do it again tomorrow. But we come in instead, and everything's already put away. TV's hooked up. Everything is square. And me and my roommate look at each other. We didn't say nothing. It was funny as hell later because we didn't say a word because we knew both of us had been at work all day. And so we just didn't say nothing. We got in the truck. We went and got our stuff from the other house. And I actually was able to get a trailer. So we got it all in one go instead of having to make 2 trips. We get everything unloaded into the place. Somebody's knocking on the door. My roommate's hitting a bong and looks out the peephole. Peephole goes, I think the feds are here. Because they were wearing the suits. It's like, dude, they're totally Men in Black at the door.
I was half expecting you to say, like...
He told me I did the ballsiest things he's ever seen anybody do that day. When I looked out the door and saw the Men in Black, I opened the door, locked it, and stepped outside and shut the door. Nice. I knew they were Mormons. I recognized one of them. I'd talked to him before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was half expecting you to say, so we got in, we went to the other place expecting to pick everything up, but they'd already picked it all up, and we crossed them on the motorway, and by the time we drove back, it was all sorted as well.
Okay, so the whole reason they had come by was... Well, part of it had to do was apparently when one of them was doing something with the water heater, the other one got into our D&D books and was looking through. I have an amazing first edition collection that is bar none.
Nice.
Yeah, no, it's one of my most valued possessions. I accumulated it through basically having money when other people were broke. So he had noticed the collection and wanted to come over and write some stuff down out of it. And I was like, sure. Whenever. And so over the next week, every day when we'd come back, there'd be something else fixed in the apartment and our books would be rifled through.
Right. So I guess
we did have stuff get stolen in that apartment. Not once did anyone ever suggest the Mormons did it.
Yeah, because they didn't. Obviously.
Yeah.
You know, they don't need to steal your shit. They got heaven.
Yeah.
You know, just ask South Park. Make Stupid People Famous says, I had a customer that was kind of a friend that was big in the Mormon cult. He explained all the crazy shit to me. So the only problem that I have with what you just said there is the use of the word cult, and I'll explain to you why. A cult is something that you are not free to leave. You can walk away from the Mormon religion at any time. They're not happy about it, but they won't stop you. Right? Yeah. Scientology is a cult. They will absolutely try to stop you. And when you do get away, they will do everything they can to ruin your life and the lives of the people around you. Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, and obviously there are varying degrees. Obviously Scientology isn't Jim Jones level, you know, but you know, I mean, at least not yet. It's also a tax shelter for a dead fucking science fiction writer who was far more prolific than he was good at it. It's, you know, like there's a difference when I use the word religion as applied to the LDS church, and it is a church, and yes, they are Christians. They're just not, you know, Catholics or Baptists or Methodists or Lutherans or Calvinists or any other denomination,
or one of those
that had a disagreement with another denomination about what actually they were supposed to fucking believe.
Of course they're not, son, because they should all be Southern Baptists. That is the only true religion, because give me the money. Give me all your money. Papa needs a brand new jet.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get you on a panel with the Renaissance nerd at some point. He does this really, really great fucking Southern Baptist impression, which is really doubly funny because he's Jewish. But
I love the idea of tithes and things like that. It's just so absurd. It's like, so you worship God, but he needs a cut?
Mormons falls under Freemasonry and Jesuit rule, still practice magic. First of all, the Jesuits are fucking Catholics.
Yeah.
They're part of the Roman Catholic Church, right?
No, they were some of the first missionaries, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah. There were some of the first ones to be strung up for it, too.
Yeah.
You know? So, I don't know. I think it's silly that all the different Christians go around telling everybody that the other Christians aren't as Christian as they are because they Christian harder.
Oh, I mean, they covered this in fucking Life of Brian.
Oh yeah, well they did, but also it's the exact same argument the communists
With the
use when
People's
they say
Front
it's
of
not real
Judea.
communism. Sorry,
Yeah.
it is.
With the People's Front of Judea, we're the legitimate ones. And then they're like, well, we're the Liberation Front of Judea. We're the real ones. And
Yeah.
like, come on. Come on. You're all fucking morons.
So I don't know. But so I don't use the word cult in regard to the LDS church. I do kind of use it in regard to the FLDS because those guys are psychotic.
Yeah.
Like, think Deliverance, but in the desert. and with more sister wives.
Oh, Blimey says, Abe said tides. In this country, you have to call it zakat. Sorry, guy, you're going to third crime jail.
Yeah.
I can't help you, bud. You're over there across that pond. You're on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
I
sport.
I thought they called it jizya. Is it not jizya? In
That's what
English?
you're
zakat.
It's like you guys aren't under jizya yet?
Don't jizz on you.
You know, it's the one where you have to pay the Muslims for not being a Muslim.
Yeah, I think they're different.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe one of them's like property tax and the other one's like income tax. They're both taxes.
Well, it's like an expectation of every good Muslim to pay a certain amount, just like they do with the Catholic Church.
Right, but
I mean, pay a certain amount of your income to,
that's
help
true of the
the
Mormons
poor
too.
and things like that.
They do a 10% tithe. You know,
Art,
every
have you been reading, sir? How dare you?
Hey,
yes, that's the
zakat
word.
is charity. Jizya is the tax that non-Muslims pay under Sharia. So zakat is voluntary, then, is it? Because it's not charity if it's not voluntary.
If it's involving Islam, it is not voluntary.
But it's not charity.
In any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that's called a tax. That's not charity.
Yep. Pay your charity tax or beheading. Okay.
Right.
Such a fucking retarded concept as well. It's like, do you want me to... Sister wives, yeah.
Okay,
it's like, do you want money out of me? And then that's the end of it? Or do you want money out of me for the rest of my life?
I should clarify that when I said sister wives, I don't mean they're biologically sisters, although in the case of the FLDS, they might actually be.
Maybe.
You said that Appalachian thing. I was kind of thinking you might have gone a little off the reservation, but maybe not.
No, I mean deep Appalachia. Deep Appalachia, where they still think they're at fucking war with England on behalf of Scotland.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, got a few cousins out there. I'm not joking.
I know you're not.
No.
But no, sister wife is a term. Look, in certain religions and certain places they refer to each other as brother and sister. Like I'm brother so and so, I'm sister so and so, and all that. That's all that is supposed to mean. Although in the case of the FLDS in Southern Utah, there might be a genetic component to that. So, might. I stress might. I don't know for sure. So.
Greg's taken quite a Darwinian approach.
Very important to them.
Religion started when some losers that couldn't survive on their own or compete with others invented a reason for why everybody else would have an obligation to look after them and care for their welfare. Hey, that sounds like communism too. Give me your stuff so I don't have to work for it.
But only after you work for it. You see, that's the thing. They don't want new stuff per se. They want you to go and work for the stuff and then them just get the stuff. Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would say that religion, royalty, are probably also founded for the same fucking reason. I mean, do we really? At some point, I suggest that possibly a leadership should arise out of any given burgeoning civilization. But royalty, really? right?
Yeah,
You know,
fuck that.
handful of inbred freaks sitting at the top eating good while everybody else fucking works to make it happen.
Brother, he has God's will. It is God's will that he rule. That and a whole bunch of guys in his army all say so.
How'd that mandate at heaven fucking work out in China?
I'm Norwegian, Irish, and German. Am I at war with Abe?
Or Japan, for that matter. They're still going the march.
I don't know why you would be. But if you want to go to war, mate, yeah, let's do it. I'm from the north of England, and fighting is one of our hobbies.
There's a handful of Florida men down there that are just fucking bored, dude. Start some shit.
Yeah, that is the entire north of England, by the way.
I have to ask, guys, like, first of all, which part of you is currently at war, and like at which point in time? Because all those countries have been at war with England at some point or other, but not necessarily at the same time.
Although in
World War II,
to
the Irish
list the
side
countries
with
that
the Axis.
Yeah, it's easier to list the countries we have never had a war with.
Right.
And I'm struggling to think of one right now. But
No, I can't come up with a single one. Y'all haven't fired some shit out.
I was going to say Bhutan, but they didn't exist before the English got there, so.
God damn it.
Y'all started wars with indigenous tribes, motherfucker. There's nothing you've never freaking tried to conquer at least once.
Bro, we tried to conquer each other.
Sure. Yeah. You still haven't succeeded, you weak bastards.
No, we went full-blown invincible planetary-style civil war. All of the weak were fucked right off, and all that was left was the greatest empire in history.
The former
Who do you think the Viltrumites were based on?
The greatest empire in history is my empire.
It's my island.
No. But no, there was a point. Yeah, the British Empire was obviously the greatest and farthest reaching empire, and it had a lot to do with naval power. Nobody else could rival them for centuries.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Spanish fucking tried. They did. You know, and in terms of their armada,
the Spanish, the French, the Germans,
the Dutch tried to beat them in trade. You know, and in certain places did almost succeed, but you know, like Hong Kong. Hong Kong wouldn't exist if it wasn't for the fucking Dutch.
Yeah, and it should never have been given over to the Chinese at all. And the Chinese don't honor their treaties. Why should we have given those people's freedoms away to them?
Sort of. All right, so here's the thing: is Hong Kong was already belonged to China, right? England leased them. You borrowed them for 100 years. You had to give them back.
Yeah, it was part of the peace treaty we made with them.
Yeah. So, but it was already part of China. However, they had 100 years of like the closest England gets to freedom.
Yeah,
which caused problems when they had to go back. You know?
Big fucking problems.
So yeah, that was and again, wouldn't exist without the Dutch traders. Macau wouldn't exist without the fucking Portuguese missionaries.
Yeah,
you know, also a Chinese city that's, as the crow flies, not that far from Hong Kong. In fact, I think isn't there an underwater bridge that goes between Hong Kong and Macau, and there's one other city, I forget which one, somewhere over in Kowloon.
No, but they want you to think there is.
Well, where are all those cars going then?
I'm saying nothing.
Because there's clearly a road that goes out into the ocean and then into the ocean. They're not coming up somewhere. What the fuck?
I haven't seen them come up.
If China decides to fuck around and find out one day and a bunch of munitions just mysteriously appear in these places, don't know anything about it.
You mean like the bricks during the Black Lives Matter riots?
Uh-huh.
West Taiwan. Ha 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 ha. Although, fun fact,
I was wondering if that was going to get through.
For those who don't know, Taiwan considers itself the true China, and that the mainland should be subservient to it. Which is hilarious, given that Commie China thinks that they're the true China and Taiwan belongs to them. Like, and really the only difference there is size and military strength, which Taiwan doesn't frankly have. That's why they use us.
Well, that's the thing. They've got the entire Western world backing them. And that's why China hasn't made a move yet.
Why is the entire Western world backing them, right? Why? Because we didn't do shit
mainly,
we didn't do shit
because most of the world's semiconductors are produced in Taiwan.
Right, because they have something we want. That is the only fucking reason. Because if they didn't, if they weren't producing that, or if we were producing our own of higher or of equal or better quality, right, there'd be no fucking reason to go to their defense, and China would have absorbed them already, like they did with Nepal and Tibet.
Well, exactly. Like with the withdrawal of the American forces from Afghanistan, do you think that was just purely accidental or a political move or what? When it seemed to happen around the exact same point in time in which domestic opioid production within the United States exceeded the imports of heroin from Afghanistan.
I mean, you know, it's a no fact. Afghanistan produces 70-some-odd% of the fucking world's opium supply.
But I thought the Taliban put an end to all of that.
No, they just put an end to people who aren't them profiting from it.
Exactly, that's right. It was very much like that South African thing, but with you know, all the same color people.
Yeah, they talk a big moral game, man, but they green speaks to them just as much as it does to us. You know?
Is Sasquatch's camera turning into more of a potato?
I think so.
Or is it just me?
It's my connection.
Yeah.
It's my connection. I can stop it if you like.
So West Taiwan. That only matters if they can beat China in a fight, man. You know, and seriously, how many of us, you know, like we're all old enough to remember, but how many people like Shadow's age even fucking remember Tibet?
Yes.
Right?
Most people only know the reference of 7 years in Tibet because Brad Pitt did a film about it.
Did a movie, which was it was okay. But you know what they don't talk about too is how Richard Gere's entire career evaporated the second he went up to accept an Oscar and said, "Hey, free Tibet."
Yeah, like weird that, huh? In fact, it was released very soon after that there was a hamster up his butt too. And I don't think are unrelated.
You know, in that context, it kind of sounds like
he
might not have been volunteering to have the hamster up his butt, that it might have been voluntold.
It could have been kind of pre-Diddy party, you never know.
And you go in there and you tell them what happened, but you don't tell them who did it. And so he had to go into the ER, have it done.
Diddy did it though.
I don't know. Diddy was probably busy chucking his friends off of fucking balconies on behalf of Suge Knight at the time, allegedly.
Oh, Diddy did that.
I did say allegedly this time.
Kind of makes you wonder if they got film of some of that old shit, right?
Right.
Like,
Let me wings.
Hold on.
Let me wings.
Having film of Vanilla Ice hanging upside down off the Capitol building.
Oh, yeah, that'd be wild, man. Because
that would
do you
be
think
wild.
The air would still be pointing the same direction?
No, that shit was frozen stiff, though.
Yeah, you know, and now you know what he does for a living? He doesn't do rap anymore. Like he goes out and he you know, performs occasionally for fucking birthday parties and charities and shit. But yeah, all he does is he goes out and he fucking builds houses for people who don't have them. That's his whole gig.
Yeah.
Right. Which is respectable, you know.
Yeah, sure. I got no hate for the man. In fact, I have found an acoustic version of Ice Ice Baby that is actually killer.
Really?
Yeah, it's really good, dude. Like, I hate to be that guy. I know I'm too white to say this, but it's really good.
Okay.
You remember when he got fucking? They were trying to sue him, David Bowie and Queen, over that fucking bass line.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you made it up with Freddie Mercury in the background.
Right.
And the thing is like nobody involved with the whole Queen thing was even mad about it. They were just like, dude, it's fine. You heard our fucking bass line before. Just admit it. You sampled it. Okay, we get it. We want a little bit of money, but listen. And he was like, no, I came up with that shit.
Yeah, he's like, no, yours goes dun 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 dun, and mine goes dun 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 dun. No, that's literally the argument he fucking used.
Artistic license.
I bet Queen were probably in reality though just sat there like, you know what, it's a bit of a banger. It's cool.
Well, I mean that was kind of the thing. They didn't care until it was a banger.
Yeah.
That thing went around the world twice. He was already cashing checks off that shit. Queen showed up, was like, "Hey, look, we don't mind. All right, like you, but you just can't do this, dude. give me some money, a lot of it."
Ice, baby. Dun, 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 dun. I don't even remember all the lyrics. Just that. That's it. That's all I remember.
They're the only ones that matter.
All right, stop. Collaborate and listen. Ice is back with a brand new invention so fast. The DJ said, "Damn."
Okay, you are painfully white right now.
Yeah, no, but that's not how the actual.
Vanilla Ice.
Jesus Christ! I come from the land where white people are made, and that is painfully Caucasian.
Yes, it is.
Fucking hell!
Just listen, Abe. You don't understand. You got to check my composure when it's time to get loose, magnetized out of my.
You know, it's pretty bad when the Caucasians are like, "Dude, like,
stop it."
It's like, bro, get a turn.
It's mighty white.
Jesus.
To borrow,
it was vanilla ice, bro. How much whiter can you get?
Right?
Transparent.
White.
So we're Caucasian Sasquatch. What do you want?
Transparent Sasquatch.
Okay,
I want to
wait.
be able to see your organs, dude. That's how white I want you to be.
Calm down, Wild Bill. They put lotion on his skin. It's good, bro. I'm lotioning it up. Yeah, it is kind of in the name.
Right?
Yeah. I'm just jealous anyway because I'm green.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Do you know any green chicks? Because asking for a friend.
I know some Orion bitches, not to be confused with Aryan bitches. It's different.
Thank God, because that's a little different.
It's not easy being green.
All of paint on them. Same diff, really.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't tell you which ones.
No, man, it'd totally be me.
So you know the Wicked Witch out of Wizard of Oz? Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was one.
Yeah.
Yeah, big nose and everything.
I'm down. I don't have a problem with Jewish women.
You know what? You could tell that shit was clearly based on a stereotype.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Sam. I'm sorry.
Now I got this image of Blix from Legend in my head.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Yeah.
Only knows in that whole movie that was bigger than Tom Cruise's. That's all I'm saying.
But
yeah. I fucking love Legend.
Yeah, it's a great movie. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah.
I like that movie. No.
For me, that's still one of the best fantasy movies of all time.
No, I agree. I think, and it's pure fantasy too. It's not dark fantasy. It's not corrupt fantasy. It's not fucking subversion fantasy or any of that shit. It's just pure fantasy. Yeah. It's like, unassuming, humble lad goes on a quest to save his girl from an evil fucking demon and to save the universe by rescuing a unicorn. I mean, it's pretty basic shit.
Yeah,
it's essentially the same plot as Star Wars.
I mean, in terms of like fantasy, that's like a bog standard Tuesday.
Yeah, it's pretty boilerplate.
Yeah.
No, it stands out because it's visually very, very stylized. And also Tim Curry's fucking performance as Darkness is incredible.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Tim Curry was fucking amazing, Matt.
Also Goth Mia Sarah. Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
That to me,
You're
if
gonna
I
have
could
to
like
show me that,
weird.
Sam. I need the link backstage. I have forgotten that one.
Okay, we
Have
can
you
arrange
not-
that.
You haven't seen that movie? Let me see if
I'm
I
sure
can
I
see it.
have, but I just want to see it again. Damn it!
Fuck, I want to watch Legend again now.
Music in Legend. Played Princess Lily. Okay, yeah, I don't actually need her backstory.
If I could weird science a woman out of thin air, it would be Goth Mia Sara.
Right.
Except
Oh, yeah.
maybe with blue eyes. That might be the only thing I'd change. But even then, I am not that fussed.
Let's see. Can I zoom on this? I want to zoom on it. I don't know if I can.
Me too, brother. I really want to zoom on it.
Oh, nope. Damn it. I had it, and then I fucked it up. There we go. All right. I got it. All right. Now I can share the fucking screen because it's just a still image. So this will work. Hopefully.
Do this. Let us spread the joy.
God damn it. Why is it not fucking louder? Hold on a second. Okay. It's not showing it. Anyway,
yeah.
you get the image. You can see it.
The fucking naval dress. Yes, there were two of those in existence. The other one was worn by what's her damn name? She quit production. They had to like change the outfit. She wore it in one scene. I can't remember the name of the friggin'. She walked off. Hold on.
Aaron Laura knows.
I'll take two, please.
Yeah. And this is side by side, same actress, same character, same movie, even just different points in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she's not that.
Why do I get the sneaking suspicion that Sasquatch is talking about Gina Davis?
Yes.
In
What was the name
Transylvania
of that movie?
65000.
Yes. She walked off the set. She did like two scenes in that dress and was exposed several times because she shrugged, right? Because the sweaty and the double-sided sticky tape wasn't sticking great and yada, yada, yada. And she just walked off and they sent her agent out to get her to bring her back for that because she had signed a contract that she didn't agree to the dress in the contract. And so the later scenes are all with things in front of her. And she is like just...
Do you reckon the director went up to her afterwards and she was like, "It's okay, girl. 2 scenes is enough."
Keep in mind, this
multiple angles.
Hold on, keep in mind, this is the same woman who did a scene literally tied to a water wheel.
Yeah.
So, naked. Like, there's nothing left to your imagination in that scene. There's. In fact, that was one of the most damaged portions of that tape when I was doing movies back in the day. We had to reorder that movie a few times.
You had to repair the VHS with fucking sellotape.
Well, here's the thing. When that part gets damaged, you cut that part out, people rent it, and then they come back and complain that, hey, this has been modified. And we knew exactly what they're talking about, so we have to give them... There it is. Yeah. It's the same flavor. Navel.
Oh yeah.
I like my Georgia peaches to the navel.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure like this outfit was this was directly inspired by Vampirella. Like it's almost the same costume. It's just the colors are differently placed. They're the same colors. Is what it is. But that was good. I wish I could.
All right, boys, that's for your spank bank. Y'all remember those,
right? Or just go watch that movie because, like, Arden Party said something about Legends is on Tubi. I know for a fact Transylvania 65000 is. So I was watching that the other day. It's a terrible movie, but it's fun.
And the other one with Gina Davis naked, for the most part, is Long Kiss Goodnight, ain't it?
Yes. Yes, with Sam Jackson and
Sam Jackson. Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a Rennie Harlan movie, who she later married. Actually, no, I think they were married at the time because the torture scenes with the water wheel, right? She was actually being plunged in ice cold water over and over and over again, and it was her husband fucking making her do that.
And it's fucking so god damn hot.
You know, it is. It is. She's really fucking hot in that movie, and that movie's awesome. I don't care what anybody says. I love The Long Kiss Goodnight. It is a fantastic fucking movie, and everything's practical in it. By the way, right? Everything in it is practical. Like when they blow up that semi at the end of the fucking movie, that's a very real explosion. You know, it's enhanced a little bit as they're driving away, but
that was more than a semi by the end of it. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely a real fucking explosion, man. That was I like Rennie Harlan's movies just for that alone. You know, even if he is like a weird, smelly Danish dude. But so, all right, folks, I think we're probably going to call it here because we're just talking about like actresses' navels at this point. So
you're not wrong. But before we go, I want to bring.
In all fairness, we could turn this into a whole show.
Next week, I'm bringing the Silurian hypothesis, and we're going to discuss that one.
Nice.
Okie doke. Yeah. So thanks for hanging out with us. And if you're over on Shadow's channel, thanks for putting up with us. He had to dip out. He had to go help some family and all that stuff. So if you're not over on his channel, his link is in the description below. Check him out. He does all kinds of fun stuff, including piss me off on a regular basis on Twitter. So Sasquatch.
Sorry, I was looking at the
lately. You've been doing.
Oh yeah. Okay, so most of what I've been doing has been, you know, as usual, involved in promoting other channels and whatnot. Tomorrow I have the Blast Radius with Captain Curmudgeon. We've changed up a little bit of stuff. It's actually been going very well. He's picking up subscribers faster than I am on that one, so that's pretty cool.
Sweet.
Monday, if I can get in touch with the dude, I'm supposed to be doing a Sasquatch Shills on Monday for PAX Americana, which is the one that I want to rework their blood sports setup to be Mayan head games.
Right.
But we'll get into all that, man. Don't have a Tuesday show, and I don't have anybody scheduled for Thursday because I'm doing it Monday if I can get it set up. He's busy Thursday, so it'll be next Thursday if it ends up happening. But none of that freaking matters. YouTube will let you know, or it won't. I don't know what to tell you, man. We got some other stuff happening too. It's mostly with you.
Yeah, that's fair. Abe, what do you got coming up?
I may do some gaming on Tuesday. I'll be producing the Hump Day Chinwag on Wednesday. I might do some gaming on Thursday. Then I'll be on Rockefeller Plaza's show on Friday night for me. And then that will basically lead into Beelzebub the following morning. And then I'll be right back here.
Nice. And I do have some science stuff I've been saving up from our good pal on YouTube, GT. So we will be getting into some of that next week as well. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. See how he's fading off the screen like that? He's like, fuck that bitch. Hey, who's since renamed herself. Apparently the GT stands for Gabriel Torch. So yeah.
Okay.
If you go to look up the channel, it's no longer just under GT. But anyhow, yeah, so that'll be definitely coming up. But yeah, glad to have you guys here. Again, check out their channels. Their links are in the description below. You can find Abe pretty much everywhere because he doesn't sleep. You know, I mean, I don't know what passes for meth over in England, but he seems to be on all of it.
It's just drywall powder. Don't get excited.
Right.
Pretty much, yeah. We just breathe asbestos over here. It's fine.
Right.
You can find me on Twitter, Rumble, YouTube. Abe's gonna get you pretty much everywhere, really.
Yeah. And he will get you. As far as I'm concerned, for my part, next thing up, Exiled Lioness 2 is going live tonight. To the best of my knowledge, I believe she is this time. This current stream she's pushed back a couple of times, so we'll see how that goes. But she should be. The last time was a scheduling conflict, so that couldn't be avoided. But the time before that, I don't really know all the details behind that. So, but she should be live tonight. I'll be over there helping out with that. Then Monday, I'll be over on Adam the Renaissance Nerd's channel for Mellow Mondays, where we nerd out about goofy, fucking pointless shit, and we give him shit because, you know what? I'm just going to say it. He's never drank out of a hose in his whole life. Only bottled water. He ain't one of us. That's it. He ain't one of us. He's still my pal, but, you know, I am going to mock him forever for that. So until he drinks out of a hose, and then I'll stop. When you drink out of a hose at him, I will stop. I'll stop mocking you for it.
You know, Asmodeus was a hell of a conversationalist, but I wouldn't want him for a friend.
Yeah. So after that, I don't have anything planned until next Friday, where we will be right back here for Abyssal Musings on my channel, Sammy the Infamous, followed by Beelzebub over on Beelzehub. And then, you know, we've got Screaming to the Void next week. So we'll see you all then. Thank you all for coming. Thanks to everybody on the panel for being here and hanging out. Thanks to all the panelists who bailed on us today. And have a great night. Remember, it could always be worse. It could be raining flaming cobras. Bye, everybody.